The question today is, how can we maintain a balance between planning and faith and find spiritual resonance with others in an increasingly virtual world without struggling or taking on too much? We are those of Auxhall. Greetings in the love and light of our one infinite Creator, who affords this precious meeting of souls this day. We are so honored, my friends, to be amongst you, surrounding this circle, physical, virtual, intangibly spiritual, with a shower of light that descends on all of us, including ourselves, for we blend our energies with those exhibited with such tenderness and hope and striving that the third density experience exhibits in the Creator's mind. We all share this home in the mind and bring that mental abode to the heart, to the spirit. And our incarnate experiences in manifestation shall reflect in better or worse ways what we carry within. The resonance that, though we seek it without, ultimately can only be identified if we have some reference within our own mind, body, spirit complexes. And so we honor and affirm the intention today. We share it and we present it, as do you, to our Creator for its purposes. What makes this a gift, my friends, is the freedom, the creativity, and idiosyncrasy with which it is offered. It is for the purposes of expressing this protean freedom, that you exist in this somewhat limited state. And therefore, we would ask you to appreciate for once these limitations, to appreciate and respect the role it plays in the unfolding of the Creator's cosmic search for itself. This appreciation might be grounded so fully in your search for the divine that you take upon yourself the duty of faithfully resonating with what connects with your soul and reflects the frequency of your heart's true color. Neither we nor any other entity in this entire universe can say what the nature of that resonance is, my friends. It is your duty to ascertain it. Our words are but helpers in this recognition, in ways that may or may not help you. We are aware of this. Therefore, please do not accept any ideas that do not resonate within. It is your task to do the labor that opens the door to truth. And we lay not a finger upon that door, but we do stand amongst you and encourage the skillful picking of that lock such that one can be confident and place a firm foot forward on that path back to our ultimate unification with all. Not simply outside of time, but in the course of this liminal state of consciousness that incarnation affords the Creator. Please use your utmost discernment, and this will unbind our hands so that we may not simply offer thoughts and feelings, but we may gesture and point. And in doing so, perhaps a little bit of the geography of your spirit will be more recognizable, more identifiable. And in this, we will all find our position relative to one another. This requires you to loosen up a bit, to recognize within yourself the constraints on a ordinary mode of apprehending the illusion. For if it were all understood what it was you were grasping towards, then the drama of this search would be very pale and pallid. It would not be a very good film, so to speak. And it would not encapsulate within it the riddles of awareness. Now, these dark corners of what one can make out of one's spiritual terrain, shall we say. Are to be accepted as a perennial feature of the path back to the Creator. You are not ordained to know each and every piece of the puzzle. They are not so clearly strewn out before you. And so their assembly is a matter of some patience and not simply of exertion. These two qualities, the focus of energies upon seeking and the dilation of the present moment into a sequence of events that presents the object of seeking. These are elements of the balance that the mind-body-spirit complex entertains carefully. And it is among your people the case that this care is not always available. You here in this circle have taken a few more steps to ensure that whether you err or meet the mark, you are doing it in a way that can be driven down to the heart of your consciousness, such that true information about the self obtains. If you were to dictate on your own terms the manner in which this procedure shall play out, you would perhaps be in no need of the veil. You would perhaps not even be benefiting from the separation from the Creator. Yes, we say benefiting. For this experience of sorrow, of disconnection, of the possibility of inauthenticity, it is salubrious and informative. It conveys the contingency of the creative process. It is where the churn of creative potential revolves and produces new opportunities, events where one may shed those burdens that have been accrued and instead freely and lightly step into the new paradigm, the new energetic configuration. In other words, it makes transformation not simply a possibility, but a an act of significance that redounds to the spiritual project in which we are all engaged. Now, when one fully appreciates this contingency, one must recognize that one is not in the driver's seat. One must instead politely and calmly issue suggestions from the back seat. We would suggest to all of you, my friends, this metaphor as a way to understand, a way to conceive, we might say, of the overall structure of your approach to walking this path. You see, you are not in full command of your totality of self in third density. That is not the variety of agency with which the Creator is playing in third density. Instead, you are, as our brothers and sisters of the Confederation have often stated through this instrument and others, in a position to learn a coordinated creatorship. As one learns to open up to the different facets of consciousness, one unlocks the door to this coordination occurring more broadly in the creation. And so one learns that the dance of self is not commanded from the stage, but instead negotiated on the floor with the partners, all learning from the feet that are, we correct this instrument, the feet that are stepped on, the hips that are not positioned correctly, the hands and arms correctly connecting with the other. The expression of the dance is what matters. How it comes about is less important, is more of a detail, and is more a matter with which you must find your own peace. In working with. So, we are trying to point to the need for an approach that one can mentally abide in without such a rigid plan that one is thrown off base when the mental model does not conform to the phenomenal presentation. This instrument has had just such an experience this day. And we are not displeased in how he has grounded this, and offer him the thought that it is through this stressor of surprise, of disappointment and miscommunication, that the true work occurs. And so you see how catalysis is at a right angle to what you conceive of as your forward trajectory. It is in the corner of the eye. It is not designed to be apprehended straight ahead. It is designed to offer the basis for needing to correct, needing to tune in to the pure and vibrant tone. You are in the best possible world, my friends, to learn how to adjust the dial. For many, many confusions will distract you, will pull you away. And as you meditate on a day-by-day basis, you learn that the hustle and bustle above need not disturb the deeper peace below. You learn that both are necessary, and that plans never survive the first encounter with catalyst, to use the old expression. You learn how to find what is deep within you and channel it, modulate it, and bring it upstairs so that it is in harmony with the tunes that are being played. You do not need everybody to be on the same page. And you learn how to stride across different domains and bring that resonance, that pure light that you have found within to different shades. There is always a place for your light to shine if you can accept these different tones of color as their reflection. This is in microcosm what the Creator is experiencing in macrocosm, in a way. The issue of love and light into the unbiased field of manifestation, only to be refracted in surprising, novel images, colors, flashes of light, and black abysses of dark. All of it is you. And there is time enough to integrate it and identify with it in those ways you find you must do. Now, this has been the setting of your planet for some time now. The outer world of commerce and conviviality and conflict, all being brought within the heart in better or worse, more or less willing ways by each mind, body, spirit complex here. At this late hour of third density, you are starting to notice, are you not, the breakdown of the normal manner in which experience and communication occurs. Fourth density knocks. The reality of a deeper unity is shining through the cracks of the door. And you are in tighter and tighter coordination and resonance with your fellow man in ways that are not traditional. We are speaking of the virtual setting in which sharing of love is occurring and has been occurring now for some time as your planet learns to unify, to take all of the dissonant melodies and instead of playing them loudly over top each other, harmonize them. And this fugue becomes a symphony. The cacophony allows for a chord progression to emerge that touches into each mind, body, spirit's deepest longings. Indeed, here we have a recapitulation of the planning faith dichotomy for while many possibilities emerge upon the horizon, there are glitches, interruptions, even setbacks. This is the flavor of social memory in its nascent and infant stages. To see the shining city on the hill, all the while finding the feet dirty, the path obliterated, the company fractured and quibbling. It is perhaps an insufficient element of guidance to suggest you simply accept this. Because in the accepting of the seemingly broken nature, you have relinquished what pulls you forward in spite of this tangled situation. And so, what we would offer you this day is a modicum of comfort and a way to recognize how the path unfolds so that one may stop when it is too much. One may proceed when opportunity presents itself. And one may feel at each moment that the discomfort and tension is not a signal of dislocation or wrongness. When one is in this in-between state and one feels deeply that the outer world is not reflecting the opportunities one feels within. We would suggest that this is a natural point for reflection within. Your Creator, my friends, did not assemble this beautiful experience of planet Earth just so you can idle about and traverse the path with no stumbling blocks. It simply is not the case that this was ever on offer. When obstacles present on one's path, they are to be honored, we suggest. They are to be seen as new dimensions of the Creator. And this is not always an obvious and integratable experience immediately. You cry out in frustration. Something is wrong. The plan is being diluted and discarded, seemingly. And you tire of returning to the drawing board. But recall, my friends, what we previously mentioned, that this is the exercise sorely needed in order for you to work with the fourth density energies. For you will be opening up to an entirely more full and overwhelming illusion at that point. And your ability to maintain coherence and forward trajectory will be, in some ways, even more difficult. For there will be no obstacles other than the self. There will be no incursions or stumbling blocks that alert you to the issues with your previously planned route. And therefore, you will be capable of deviating far from what you intend without this visceral, discrete friend known as the constraint, the obstacle, the root on the walking path that catches your foot. These items are much more easily ascertained and dealt with, for they are much more obvious and concrete. You will look back on third density and long at times for the elementary nature of the struggle. So, with this perspective provided, we encourage you to let the path, let your life speed you up or slow you down. Adjust your forward acceleration. And to work with this feedback, one must be paying attention. And this, my friends, is the value of the daily meditation, the punctual reflection within, with regularity and consistency. It is, in a way, checking the path against the map in one's heart and using those moments of confusion as an opportunity to slow down, to give yourself more time. And yes, even when necessary, to retrace one's steps. For there is no shame in this. It is all beautiful territory. And so it is all worthy of a co-creator such as you. And no experience is wasted, no lesson superfluous. This is the expression of free will in microcosm through the ultimate necessity of each moment, each event, each falling away, and each accrual. Reflecting within, learning to obey, in a way, the obstacles and setbacks, and let them teach you, so that a deeper plan than you can be aware of at any moment might be followed, not as an issue of your perspicacity as a conscious entity, but rather as a yielding to a deeper sense of purpose that begins to communicate with you through the path. Creating the potentiation such that this reflection and brooding within may wait out the storms that arrest your forward movement and offer the pleasant weather at a later moment, after a new balance has been subtly and patiently adjusted within. And one learns that whether one stops or moves forward, this is the dance with the Creator, and each moment can be savored. In the specific case of those virtual relationships, those connections across what you refer to as technology, you have an even more ephemeral version of these obstacles. And so, if you compare the difficulty of getting on the same page in virtual settings with that of physical proximate settings, you will see the fourth density future, for it is an even more indeterminate, confusing, subtle way to stray off the path than you now have. So learn these lessons of third density well by setting yourself up for a successful dance. There is in your life plan an accounting for all of those moments where one stands still and cogitates and feels into the arrested state. And this is the faith that will allow you to transition from plan to plan to plan as each falls through, as each shows its limitations and therefore expires in usefulness. Faith is the recognition deep within that a greater plan exists that does not need to be laid in front of one. That is a matter of adjustment, discernment, and ultimately surrender. And in this surrendering, one discovers one's true power. One discovers the reference tone against which all resonance is measured. And one learns to bridge those moments of inner reflection and outer activity in more and more coordinated and harmonious ways. We are those of Auxhall, and at this time feel we have spoken to this query to the best of our ability. And if there are any questions, we would offer ourselves to them at this time. We are those of Auxhall, and understand that energies may not be at the proper level for a dialogue at this moment. This is acceptable to us, for we feel we have given this circle the basic concepts that have been requested, even though we hear this instrument's cry that they are not quite what was expected. And we say to this instrument, well, my brother, get used to that. You are all our brothers, our sisters, our other selves. We do not offer our thoughts such that they should override those deep feelings and ideals that present within. We would hardly be your friends if we elevated our intentions and ideations above yours. Our purpose in communing with you is to offer a different perspective, because this path, in truth, can be approached from multiple angles, though it is the way of your people to stick to one. It is because this one path is so habitual, and that side paths or detours are so alarming and dispiriting to you. That we offer the concept of cooperation and friendly relating to those items that disturb, so that you may have a way of relating to failure, death, misdirection, confusion, that allows you an opportunity to take it within, to feel deeply into it, and to emerge from that experience with a new appreciation for the path, to transform what seems troublesome and deflecting and distracting back into that clear, pure, beautiful star that you orient against. And then, with a little more confidence and the candle of faith in hand, you may once again step forward. As a final thought, let us offer the suggestion that you keep very closely in mind, my friends, walking this path, the impossibility of your solitude. It feels like a path you must walk on your own basis, even as you learn to expand what it means to walk it on your terms. Now, it is true, growth occurs individually in its most obvious manner, but this growth can only be understood in a wider environment. Otherwise, it would not be growth at all. It would be something else. You are growing into a self that is more capable in this environment. And that growth will, little by little, lift your eyes so that you see how many comrades, friends, stand around you and offer their love to you. This is the fruition of faith in third density, the recognition of the collective project we all share and the irreplaceable part the single mind-body-spirit complex plays. And then being lost is not so taxing and depressing, but instead an opportunity to commune with those who have had your back all along. We are those of Auxhall, We have your back. And we are part of a great assembly of spirits who all stick up for each other. And we are here for you. When you need to go within, call out to us, and you shall receive a response. At this time, we shall depart this circle, leaving you in the love and light of our one infinite Creator. Adonai, my friends, Adonai.